And welcome everyone to another Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney stream, and I'm thinking this might be the last of the first game. If we can get through it, I believe we will come to a close on the first Phoenix Wright game today. I think. We're in day 3 of the trial. That's normally the last day. Normally. So maybe. Nah, you got another 10 hours of gameplay? Really? There's no way there's that much left. I was about to say, Jen. Hey, I don't know. You could have looked it up. I'm supposed to trust you, man. You got stabby stab for a reason. You can't be pulling the wool from under. You can't be pulling the rug from under me like that. Now, if you don't remember what's going on, we got Lana here, who is the sister of our new version of Maya, and Lana has been accused of murdering a dude who was apparently murdered already in the police department evidence locker. I think there's some foul play involved with a former case that went down called the SL9 incident. I don't know why they're all incidents, but either way, I think that's it. I think Lana's innocent, and it's all the work of the Star Order. That's all you need to know. It's all the work of the Star Order, and I also need to fix that emote. I just remembered that. Oh God, you should know something. What should I know? What should I know? Tell me what I should know while I do some voice acting. This is considered the longest chapter out of every Phoenix Wright game. That makes sense. I can believe that. I could believe it. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you've figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana! You're the one who knows everything! Am I? You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you... Wait, yeah. I thought I read that wrong entirely at first. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? No. Oh, fucking gumshoe come bursting in. Dear Lord, man, did you take out a wall while you were at it? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pal. You's doing something in here? You's trying to, you knows. You know. This got awkward. Oh. Guess I am. I'll come back later. I'll see yous later. Bye, guys. Oh, man. Wait! Detective Gumshoe! What is it? Get back here. This is too awkward for me. You's got a lot of nerve, pal. Making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you call me here? I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, detective. You better be, pal. Hey. I didn't see you was there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. I apologize. I didn't mean to call you as a pal. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? You mean this, right? I will say, that that might be one of my favorite things of this whole game is when text just essentially flashes up on the screen. Because in my head, I just can visualize the, yeah, okay. Like the real quick talking is great. My apologies, detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. Wait a minute, she stole my identity? That's the only thing Phoenix has. And it's not much. Why you gotta do that to him? My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Would I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? Well, she's going in for murder. Why not add a little identity theft? Guess if going in, might as well keep adding up charges. I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident. But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. We've only got like 4 minutes, but you read them. I can't believe yous. The chief prosecutor were a witness in a case. In that case, Miss Sky was a witness? Files for the Joe Drake killings. Solved 2 years. That's a name. That's a name. Joe Drake. That's a name. Take it from me. You don't want anything to do with serial murderers. Oh, was there an A in there? I didn't see the A. So it's Joe Dark. Or Joe Darkay. Or Darky. Oh, wait. Now that I brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me. Emma? But why? Why is your name in here? What? My name is in there. I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... Oh Lord, what the fuck? I'm more confused now than I ever have been in this thing. I thought like we were good to go. We were right at the end of it. Like I feel like now we got 3 more weeks to go. That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. There is an A. I didn't see the A. The Joe Dark... No! No, Lana! That's over with! No! Emma, wait! Like she ran away. Phoenix, everything's going up in flames, man. We're fucked. It's all over, man. It's all over. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Yeah. There's a turkey and rye calling my name right now. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. I've got no hope anymore. Everyone's left me. Emma. Gumshoe. Edgeworth's on the opposing side. No one's left. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Everyone booked it, yeah? They took off. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. I didn't even finish reading. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I hope he skimmed through all that paperwork real quick. I'd better take a good look at this file. Oh, he hadn't even started reading it yet. Fun. We're gonna know nothing. Bum, bum, bum. The heck was that? That sounded weird. Yes. I don't remember if I even saved or not. I wasn't even paying attention. Go. February 24th, 12:14 p.m. District Court, courtroom numero 9. Hi, Judge. How's fanfic going? The court will now reconvene for the trial of one Miss Lana Sky. Emma didn't come back. We're all alone. Nobody here beside us. Phoenix ain't got friends. Where's the butts? Oh, God. We need the butts. No Emma. No Maya. Phoenix, stop pushing everyone away. And our only ally is on the other side. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Oh, fucking Marshall. He's drinking in the fucking courtroom! Are we not gonna pay attention to that? Your witness is intoxicated, Edgeworth. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Bruh. Like I was about to say, how much is he drinking? He gonna make Adam Page look soft with how much he's drinking. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trials of civilization. That's trails, not trials. Why'd I say that? I don't know. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman! As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind call it out. Yeah. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? Never heard Edgeworth described that way before. No, that's not, Edgeworth is not a howling wind. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner, you'd be correct. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper. Sum it up. Yeah. What he said. Yeah. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. Oh shit, the judge he ain't gonna take your country bumpkin shit. The day of the crime. My job was to keep a weary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. Gotta love how the day we all talked about the Derrick Henry situation, he got a long-term deal. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, I'm like, oh, well, there we go. And he got paid exactly what I said. I said 10 mil a year is probably the most you're going to pay for, you know, that's kind of the price point. You're not probably going to go higher than that. If you do, there's a good chance that it isn't going to pan out for you. And he got 10.3 mil a year. So, yeah. So I called it. Besides, the room is protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. What the fuck did half of that mean? I can't say I particularly care for your attitude, Chef. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. How dare he? How dare he insult the beard of the judge? Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? The fact that he used the term doohickey just shows how old this game is, and I love it. Doohickey, man. Marshall's still living in 1890. Yep. He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses. Now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. I will add him to my fanfic. A troublesome detective, or I'm sorry, patrolman, arrives on the scene. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Hi, Marshall. How you doing? Yeah. I don't understand half the shit you said. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. Right? Yeah. That's weird. You entered them? Videos of nothing ain't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. You son of a bitch. He's getting rid of evidence. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Oh. Never mind, he was following protocol. I take back all I said. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So, in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room? But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm with Phoenix. No, Desperado, I know let's rules get in his way. He knows not English either. Come on, Marshall. Just speaking goddamn English for once and not old Texan. No desperados I know join the police force. That's a good point. And the only desperado I know is part of Suzuki-gun. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? Now that's a case we should look into. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems. You used to be a detective, so you're used to the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course, back in the day my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism. Sorry, partner, I ain't good with mechanics. With machines. Not mechanics. He's not good with mechanics either. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's not that difficult. Okay. Marshall's stupid. That's quite incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Marshall, it's the early 2000s, not the 19th century. It's 21st century. This man's 2 centuries behind. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? What were you doing in a place like that? Probably getting a sarsaparilla. I was eating spaghetti. I was totally expecting like some sort of, I was sitting at the bar having myself a sarsaparilla. Like I expected that. Hey, well, looky who it is. Major Black Rose, thank you for the follow, my man. If you don't know who Major Black Rose is, you haven't been checking out my second channel, where all these streams, well, most of them, get archived. Me and him have a little Pokemon Versus going on each through each other's channels. One video gets uploaded on his, the other on mine, and it keeps going that way. So if you haven't checked that out, you should. He's good people. Go check him out on the YouTubes. Oh, and you're already pulling out the Leon. Bruh. You're a good man. First thing you put in the chat is Leon Day. That's, you know you fit right in already. You fit right in already, man. Well, Leon always does it. That's true. Every situation, it does not matter. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat the parlor's Vongol sepia pasta. What the fuck were you eating? Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Yep, the judge, you hit the nail on the head. He went for the noodles. I'll get that episode to you by the end of the day, my dude. Sorry for the delay. Ah, that's fine. I hadn't even checked Discord, so you are fine, man. Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's, I feel like that's kind of racist, but, tacos are delicious. You just Googled the pasta. Okay, Jaren, I want to know what it looks like. Either give me a very good description of it, or just send a link or something. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, "Did you not want a raise this year?" That's true. Normally he gets on people. Huh. Edgeworth, are you in cahoots? Are you in cahoots? Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? That's right, partner. Or as you'd call it, evidence. Here's a hint, baby clamshells. Oh. I know what it is now. Okay, so he was having fancy-ass pasta. That's why I like to call it. If you're putting, like, clams and shit in your pasta, like, scallops are okay. But, like, clams and shit, that's too fancy for me. That's too fancy. You plan to pin me to this crime, then you'd better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Yeah, tell Bill O'Brien that. Texans fans are telling him a lot of shit now. He ain't listening. Apparently your supervisors don't. Okay. I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. What do we have? Dear Lord, we have so much shit. Lost item report. I still want to know who was the jackpot that went in at 420. Well, he traded DeAndre Hopkins and now maybe losing Kenny Stills. Yeah, well, Kenny Stills situation, that he was doing the right thing for the most part, so you can't really say anything bad about Kenny Stills. If Bill O'Brien wants to do anything about that, that's all on him, but it's gonna make him look worse than Kenny Stills. Nothing. Absolute nothing. What can I use? Oh! Found it. Alright. I'm just going back through just to make sure. Okay. Think. Let's see if I'm right here. Not even Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watkins to the Texans next year. Nah, they can't. They can't. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough for those Texans fans. Here we go. Let's see if I'm right. Okay, never mind. Never mind. I'm wrong. I'm always wrong. And what's it go to? That's my trump card. Is the video. Victims: Edward Jones, Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, Neil Mar. Neil Marshall? Is that any relation to one Jake Marshall? I need to know. Head prosecutor was Miles. The witnesses were Lana and Emma Sky. Ooh. Head investigator was Bruce Goodman. He also had Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. I knew that. As the investigators, the executive investigators were Damon Gant and Lana Sky. Huh. Interesting. Was not the handprint. I don't see anything that would work for that though. I don't see anything that would like I could really use that on. I mean, maybe I could use it on the security system, but like there's nothing that straight says, hey, use me here. Extremely thin rubber glove. He said like there was nothing about that. Quickly, just you know, just for prosperity's sake here, in case of emergencies, just save. Fucking that thing, man, is more terrifying than anything out of FNAF. Okay, that wasn't it. I thought maybe that, like, I feel that that video is the smoking gun. But I could not tell you, like, where I'm supposed to use it. Nope. I feel like that's the smoking gun, man. Wait a minute. Do we have to ask him about the ID card record? Nope. I thought maybe that would, what do we have to tag him with? Other than he's in the incident files. Oh! Shit, they are Martians! Never mind. I take everything back. Major Black Rose was right. I'm an idiot. I didn't even read that they were Marshall's prints. I'm the dumbass. This guy right here is a dumbass. Now I just gotta pick the right one. I think it's this one. Or it's not that one. What the hell? Which one is it then? Like, it's Why is the room protected by 2 security cameras anyways? If I remember right, Here we go. I guess it's this. Yes. There we go. Dear Lord, man. Man, if I just read it was Marshall's fingerprints, would have been a whole lot easier. Reading, man. It'll save lives. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd that is you being called in to testify like this? And to the Major, you have learned. No, I need Clay Aiken by my side. That's what I need. You know what? No, we'll pop him in for a little bit. We're gonna get the protection of the one and only here. Where is he? There he is. We're gonna pop him in here just a bit. Boom. He's popping in to say hi. Yep. We're gonna pop in Mono Kid, and maybe he'll help us out. This is what happened. He died and now he pops up in stream. That's what happens. He can now pop up in every stream. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or, to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. You be touching things? I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. I will say Monokuma fits perfectly for this game. He's right in the spot where the text won't get to him. He fits, or not Monokuma, Mono Kid. He fits perfectly in his spot there. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the scene of the crime. The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? What you gotta say if you quit shaving with your dagger? That's like, that knife shave seems like the worst idea. You're going to slit your own throat one day. I'm just looking out for you, man. It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall. About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. What you gotta say, Marshall? Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained fingerprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. I'll just say this, that makes no sense seeing that we didn't find anybody else's prints stained with blood. I think he's forgetting that, like, the blood's not just gonna, you know, be there on his prints. There would be other prints there as well, I'm just saying. Didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? There's a good explanation. Now you sound like a guy who's trying not to be incarcerated. See? I had nothing to do with it. Now that's a better defense. It's still not great, but it's a better defense. The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. What's he hiding? I wonder. That's because you, how did you put it? Pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. And you break them for everyone else? God, that Drew McIntyre theme is so good, but why doesn't he use it anymore? I see. It'd be strange if all my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently, his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without even knowing it. But he looked at a different locker in that flashback, though. Let's see, what else we got here? So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. The locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. And one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Unrelated. They're as different as night and day. Which aren't really that different. Just saying. Kind of like cereal and cereal. That's a better analogy. Look at you. Good job, Marshall. That's a much better analogy. And why did you elect to go with that analogy, though? Are you a killer? Are you a serial killer? Do you know a serial killer? Marshall, you just became extremely suspect just because using that analogy, even though it's a good choice. One's got to do with breakfast while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different. Homonyms, that's what it's not an analogy, it's homonyms. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. How do you know that? I may be a loner. I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene, though thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. Was found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture This seal of blood in the desert. It's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. Bruh! Did he go through the evidence? Where did he pull out that fucking tape? The security tape? As long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Buzzards, where's Bray? Exactly, we need Bray in here. Bray Wyatt. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. We know the judge doesn't drive now. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. Edgeworth, bruh, come on. Don't do this to me. We're friends. We're buddies. We're tag team partners. Come on, you can't be doing this to me, man. We don't have time for your speculation, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Sure. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Oh no, yeah, somebody walks by, but they're dressed as the victim. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. Look at it. Look at how terrifying that thing is, man. The blue badger is the scariest animatronic on the face of the earth. Ugh. What? Whoa! Wait a minute! Wait a fucking minute! Oh no, he's got the handprint already on him. I thought for a second the blue badger didn't have a handprint on him and then suddenly had a handprint on him. No, you can't see his face close enough. Because stupid flag's in the way. Hey, there's our boy Officer Meekins. Hi, Officer Meekins. He just disappears. I legit got nothing right now. Like, you can kind of see his face, but barely. There's nothing that would be like, hey, that's obviously Marshall. When does he get hit? He gets bloodied at one point. I'm guessing it's Officer Meekins. Leon did it. Yeah, he did. It's still Leon. Does not matter. Oh! Shit! I know how! No, we need to pause this right here. I literally watching it, I'm like, what on earth could make us think that this is Marshall? Where's the evidence other than seeing his face? And then I saw the knife go by, and I'm like, huh, a knife. And my brain went, huh, a knife. I wonder if Marshall has a knife. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. There. How's that for evidence? Please allow me to apologize for my colleague, Your Honor. He gets carried away sometimes. Yes, well, this certainly isn't a first. Will you forgive him too, Officer Marshall? He's not a bad man, just a bit delusioned. Of course, I'm not one to gun down unarmed boys. Oh great, now Edgeworth is defending me. Guess that means I missed the mark. What? It's the knife! It's totally the knife! What? What? Okay, Jaren, you got the thing open. You got the thing open. Am I supposed to find something in the video? Just let me know that. Am I supposed to find something in the video? Yeah? Alright. I just wanted to make sure. Through all this, yeah. Alright. How is it not the knife? Like, how is it not the knife? Like, that's the only thing where I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Wait a minute. I think I know what it is. I think I know what it is. I think I know what it is. But before I do that, you guys have to deal with a 6-second ad break because I'm going to get a refill. I'm not going to make you listen to this song the whole time. So we'll be back in just a second. For those of you who who aren't subscribers, you have to you have to watch the ad break, and I'll be back in just a second. And we are back. Who's ready for that killer music? I'm sure you're all ready. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, you're all happy to hear that. I know it. Okay. Day 3 is not the final trial day. What? Really? There's another day we gotta go? We're not finishing this then today. We'll finish it next week. Because next week we'll probably stream for 4 to 5 hours. I can't go 4 to 5 hours today, but next week will be good. Alright. Now, wait, I want to just point out, there is nothing. Remember, this is Marshall's locker. This is Marshall's locker, right here. Keep that in mind. Okay. Poor Meekins. Well, what the fuck's this right here? I didn't see nothing hanging out of this locker just a fucking second ago. I do believe somebody opened this here locker, if I do say so myself. Take that! Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake. I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. Last chance you coming in 12 days. Oh, last chance you coming in 12 days. That's great. Oh, I'm excited for the new season. I didn't realize they'd already filmed it. That's awesome, though. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Oh, it's the final season? Oh, that's sad. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? That's very few words. Oh, I think they're switching to basketball after this year. Oh, that's a cool concept, switching between sports. That actually brings a little bit more life to it. And then they can switch back when they need. Smart idea on their part. Very smart idea on their part. Constantly keep changing it up. Very well. Coming in 2024, last chance you, tennis! Everyone's favorite sport. Next thing you know, you get golf. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Hey, I'm just happy I had a big brain moment there where I actually figured out, hey, something was wrong here. And you didn't have to tell me. That locker with the white cloth sticking out, that was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Hi, Blue Badger. Hi, Officer Meekins, who's injured. Hi, Blue Badger. Oh, the white cloth is gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order in my court. Hold your horses. Sorry, partner. But you got the wrong man. I mean, yeah, how could you say that? Remember, so what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. You dumb motherfucker. You are stupid. Bruh. It hadn't even been that long since we talked about the fucking fingerprint analysis thing. Like, have you already forgotten about that shit? Look, even Edgewood knows you fucked up. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? You dumb motherfucker. This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade. Officer Marshall, you're wanted. Dead or alive. But you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker. Now prove it. Hey, Marshall, I got 2 words for you. Suck it. Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. You know, wasn't that long ago. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. Well, what kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. Not Gumshoe though, because he's smart. Gumshoe the smart one. And he also created the blue badges because he's smart like that. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Can we just say Phoenix is like the best at like spinning something around and throwing it back in somebody's face? Like, I love when he does that. It's like the best part of these games. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Order! Order! Order in my court. Witness! Explain yourself as the phone rings. What, you gonna let that go? Where's that hydrate redeemable? I don't have that, because I got myself some tea. The phone is ringing, and I didn't know the number, so, you know, no need to answer it. Unless I wonder... Nope. No need to answer it. The way I look at it is, normally if the number's calling the house phone, I don't need to answer it. Normally. And that, folks, for all them kids out there, that's what we call a landline. Those don't normally exist anymore. You don't even have a house phone here. See? See? Kids nowadays, they don't know about them landlines. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Ole! Please answer the question. What is he now? A bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet, Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? Seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Give me a second, Judge, to collect the thoughts and put them into words. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Bum bum ba da 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 da. He was here. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's... Yeah, the real killer in all this is the Blue Badger. The Blue Badger killed everybody. Little did we know the Blue Badger was behind the whole thing. Leon was controlling the Blue Badger, so Leon is the Blue Badger. That's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. By the way, I did a redraft 2011 draft, and in this redraft, instead of the Jags drafting Gabbert, they drafted Kaepernick. I mean, if he lived up to what he did with Harbaugh, I mean, that wouldn't have been... Well, anything would have been better than Gabbert, actually, so I take that back. Anything would have been better than Gabbert. Behind the Badger, it's not on the floor plans. I mean, that would be the real clever move right there. Well, correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Let's keep in mind, Officer Meekins didn't recognize who he saw, but he doesn't know half the people here because he's new, and he's got a really terrible case of ADHD. Julio Jones would have been a Bengal. Julio over AJ Green. That would have been a tough choice to make. That would have been a tough choice to make. I mean, I know what you're talking about, man. Blue Badger wasn't on the floor plan, but technically the spot behind him was. Think about it. Think about it. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. Oh, Lord. Julio, man. God, that was one of the greatest. Nothing is better in MLB The Show than a guy with two first names. And Julio will always forever live in my heart. Julio is forever with me. Because he is the best. Fucking Julio. Oh, man. I may have to put him in the next dynasty. Maybe he'll show up in the next dynasty. Along with Tajik. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. Unless he didn't know what he looked like, Edgeworth. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. Oh god, man, Officer Meekins. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Fucking love Officer Meekins. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Fucking love him. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. God, it's good. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? Well, A.J. Green would have been drafted by the Falcons 2 picks later, so they would have swapped receivers. That would have been very interesting. You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it? You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Bruh, you're a patrolman. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? Come on, Edgeworth. Telepathically. Send me something. Oh, he's saying big brain. It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. I don't remember. No, Mia had Kyoko's voice. That's what it was. Mia had Kyoko's voice. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box. It's been too long since I've had to voice Mia. She's been dead for so long. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that he came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Bruh, the tag team's back together. Edgeworth's over here helping me out. Yet, he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that. He opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? I mean, it's kind of obvious. Perhaps Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. The cloth that was used to wipe the bloody handprint? Maybe. Maybe. Or, you know, maybe his locker's not big enough. Actually, wait. The Badger! Oh, man. I can tell you now it's not the Badger. Very well, let's take yet another look at that security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Or is it? Whoops. I mean, do I show it here? Because it's this. It is the jacket. Because the jacket's white. No. I know of the handprint. That's from Gumshoe. We already talked to him about it. He already told us about the handprint. Oh yeah. It's the bloody jacket. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet, dear Lord. Yet, however, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. There we go. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Yay! Big brain. Big brain. Big brain. Now then, Officer Marshall. When the game's not sitting here and making me have to sit there and go, okay, how is this game gonna try and fuck me up? How is this game gonna try and confuse the shit out of me? You know, I'm pretty okay with my big brain moments. That first Danganronpa trial, man. I'm not gonna lie. We did that Monday, and I still can't believe it. I'm still dumbfounded by what they did. Oh, God, Spike Crunsoft, man, they're too good. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we? What the fuck you talking about? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it! You so excited for a strong female protagonist. Yep. Legitimately, I keep going back to the moment where Hyperion gave me that clue. And I once again, he ain't even here, but Hyperion killed it with that clue. That is the perfect way to give me, like, a clue without spoiling anything. That was the perfect way to do it. And, God, like, the second I put it together and my brain figured things out. The nose, man. The nose. Great. God, that's probably my favorite moment streaming yet. Is that moment right there was the best. Alright. It seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. This is his confession. He's gonna talk about how he just tried to act like a murdered man. This is his confession. He did something terrible. Maybe he is gonna throw the Star Order under the bus. His confession. I had to do it that day. Couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. Wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. Managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. Far Cry 3 is on sale for $3? Why is it only $3? Isn't Far Cry 3 like one of the best ones? If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. There's way too much blood for such a small donation. Oh wow. I actually have to cross-examine his confession. Oh. When you say it, you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with a transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. What did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When the case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card. Stole that the morning of the incident. That really was why Goodman started filling out the lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean that the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off. Let's just say I was a little surprised. Only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. Got that right. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. There's the Edgeworth we know and love. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. Sorry that turned out that way. Me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked off Shamikins out and... So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day... But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me. I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? Still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker is already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID? Injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are even a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This is mine. I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember that Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. There's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. The feeling he'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. Better take another look at the files. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Was I right? Was I right? Wait. Was I right? Is Neil Marshall related? Was I right? Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall. Yeah. Sure you've heard that. I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. Oh shit! Oh, I didn't think it would be that. I just thought he'd be like related to the dude. Oh god, this goes even further. Watch a prosecutor. Must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. The case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Bruh! Dude, Joe Dark looks awesome. I love that. He looks so cool looking. He looks like almost any mild serial killer in a film noir movie. I love it. I love it. He's the guy who killed Batman's parents. Just changed his name from Joe Chill to Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. It was all we needed. He was assigned. He was... No. Arranged? Yeah. Dear Lord. He was arranged and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with his resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. at exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office. This fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which, in turn, means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. Seems to me, this boy's got the draw on you, partner. Shut up, Marshall. Get off the witness stand. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye, and the testimony of one Miss Angel Starr is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. Fucking Edgeworth, man. I hate him, but I love him, but I hate him. Ugh. Shinsuke Nakamura, that shit. I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I don't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant holy shit! Fucking Emma ran in, pushed Marshall off the witness stand, and came into it. Like, what the hell, Emma? Where'd Marshall go anyways? Like, what did you do to him? He was right there. Emma, did you kill Officer Marshall? You can't be doing that. Not in the middle of a courtroom. Yeah, Your Honor. Wait! Emma? The defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right. What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? No. No. Nope. Nope, not at all. Not at all. Nope. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please, hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. She's all sad. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. 3 minutes and we're out of here. Where's Rosie? And where's Jamal and Rosie? 3-minute warning. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentions it, the names of both Skye sisters were in that file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean,
what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So, I ran over there and looked at it again.
So did you find something?
No.
Emma, what good are you? Huh?
Sorry. I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
The silence is palpable. Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney.
But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? Fucking shit. It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be more of use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now. Big brain. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? Can we look at the footage again? I want to fast forward. I don't think we can see anything there, but we're gonna object. This handprint left at the scene of the crime clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes. This is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. If he says the blue badger. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes. Something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. Let me quickly save here. Quickly gotta save here. With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use. Question is, which item can prove something is missing on the floor plans? Take that! What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Little did Major Black Rose know, he figured out that the Blue Badger was needed before he was even needed. Would you look at that shit? I can't believe it. He brought up how he's not on the floor plans. And what do we need to point out? The Blue Badger is not on the floor plans. I can't believe that's actually a thing we needed to point out. Oh. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? I love that reaction. That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. Fucking love that the Blue Badger was actually important to this fucking trial. What? So that means, just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What do you say? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me. I didn't put that there.
Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically.
Emma?
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? And he put it down. It would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker.
So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. Okay, making him Sean Connery was the best idea since he says balderdash. If you've never used the word balderdash, you need to start. It's a great word. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time, we don't have that footage. Fucking yeah, the Blue Badger helped us out. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. Oh shit. Oh shit, the objection off is on. Oh, they're going back and forth, man. Combos, come on, Phoenix. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well. Then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? I assume it's gotta be this. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. The ID card? Oh, the ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Oh. Fucking Edgeworth killed him. Edgeworth just became a prime suspect. Oh. Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done? That worked way too well. Oh, man. And if you get that reference, good for you. You watched SpongeBob. Miles Edgeworth. I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope. I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminal test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. It had to be jackpot at 420, man. It had to be the jackpot at 420. There's only one other card number remaining. Jackpot! Talk about a lucky number. But wait, That doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777777. I think I may have put one too many sevens. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 77777777. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 777777 belongs to someone with a higher rank of captain or with a rank of captain or higher. I think I know who the murderer is, or at least the owner of that ID number. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how... I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. An official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander? Is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not to you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be so stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course, we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 77777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SO9 incident. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did.
Lana!
I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendants, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
But Lana!
Even if it involved forging evidence. Well, shit. These flash transitions, though. See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No! Dear Lord! They've all gone crazy! We're gonna die! Oh my god, there was such chaos that they had to stop the trial. Oh my god, that's awesome. That's legit awesome. I love that. I love that so much. Okay, that's kind of cool. That's how we go to the next day. The fact that it caused so much chaos. That is awesome. That's legitimately awesome. We're gonna keep going for a little bit. We will finish this up probably next Thursday. Because next Thursday, depending, I don't know exactly what time we're going to do it yet. But we might, depending on the time, go for like 4 or 5 hours. There's 3 days grace when you need them. Yeah, let's somebody put in the 1X album.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm so sorry for what my sister said.
We heard her. That caused a hell of an uproar.
I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings.
Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Where was Phoenix when all this happened? Because this seems like it was a big case.
Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me.
Emma? What happened to you? I'm scared to know where this is gonna go. What do you mean, what happened to you? Are we about to get into some real serious shit?
It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence.
What did you have to do with those killings, Emma?
On the night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me.
What? What? Wait, what? What? He tried to kill you?
Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me.
Oh. He was being a hero. There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. Alright. So that means you.
Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial.
I didn't see that one coming.
It had been 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together when she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office.
Joe Dark.
It seemed like he was running from someone. He put out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up.
Jake Marshall's brother.
Joe Dark tried to take me hostage, but before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him.
She put up some confidence fist there.
Then,
What happened?
I'll never forget it. Lightning struck, and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant.
Not the time for confidence fist, no. No, certainly not the time for confidence fist, but she did throw him up.
What I saw then burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now.
Permanent picture?
I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall.
So you weren't able to testify about that?
No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime.
Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence?
The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it.
Edgeworth?
Yes, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it.
She's very confident about that.
He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's where it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth, it's all my fault. If I could have just testified properly, none of this would have happened.
So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence.
After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold, like she is today.
She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What about that permanent picture, Emma? What did you see in the instant that crime occurred?
Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife.
Neil Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl?
I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Anna was cradling me in her arms.
Poor Emma. You've been through so much. Hell, man.
I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago.
Or 2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable. Bruh, Emma been through some shit.
Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and fight the evidence to make an airtight case. That way Lana would never have to forge any.
I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. There's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma.
What is it?
You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right?
That's right.
Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor?
Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course. This happened at the police department.
God, your name tree is shitting on the angels in his new video. I mean, we have the best player in baseball and we can't make the playoffs, so, you know. And we couldn't get Garrett Cole. Fucking Yankees.
He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office.
But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office?
Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator.
Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly! Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective!
You withheld this information until now, Emma?
She was the best in the entire force.
What? That's news to me.
After the Joe Dart case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor.
Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. February 24th, Detention Center, Visitor's Room. Hi, Lana.
Lana!
Mr. Wright, it seemed I kept causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we?
But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty.
Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago. How the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. So a lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today, not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. A lot of these cases are all like interweaved and connected. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be.
That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth.
It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul to Satan. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department.
Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why would you tell us?
Emma getting angry. Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so fazed before. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago.
She was amazing.
That's the image you see when the team up happens. Right there. That's the image of the team up right there.
They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together.
Chief Gant? He was the deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be.
They were the best team ever. They saw crimes before the reports could even be filed.
Emma really idolizes her big sister. but now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was
to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right?
Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. Speaking of the devil, let's talk about it. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office? We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. And he tried to murder Emma.
Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark.
You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us? I love that everyone's just withholding all this information. Like, we could have taken care of all of this in like 1 to 2 trials, but no, you're withholding all this information. Come on. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down, then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Detective Chief Gant and myself.
That's when he found me.
So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana. It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. Is it just me, or just by the depiction of this, does it seem pretty difficult for Marshall to get stabbed in the back in this situation? Just saying. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her after all. Her sister must have gone. Can't blame her after all her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence. I don't buy it.
What are you saying?
There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance.
But that case was solved 2 years ago.
At least one person went to extremes, because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall. Yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely.
I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dart.
Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself. The chief's office. We should have a look at the chief's office. The site of the final SL9 murder. And we will take a look at that office next Thursday. That's where we're going to call a close to this stream. We've gone 2.5 hours. I've got a lot of editing to do tonight, and that's the main reason we did an early stream. So, I got to get a lot of work done. Also got to do some other things. That is going to take us to the end of this one. I will say this case has taken so many turns that I am dumbfounded. I did not expect this many, turns in this case. So let me get some tunes going here for you guys to head out on, and we will fully close this, and let's go with this one. I gotta lower my volume before it blasts my ears off. There we go. So with that, we'll be back to this next Thursday. Do not know what the time will be just yet. If it's going to be early, then it'll be 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, somewhere around there, like we did today. I'm hoping that it might be a tiny bit later, maybe 2 is what I'm hoping it could be, but we'll see. Hopefully we'll be able to play a ton and maybe even get through it. I doubt we'll get that far, but maybe, just maybe. Depends on how much time I got next Thursday. With that though, thank you guys. I appreciate all the chat we've been having. All of you guys who were in here for the entire time. With that, I will see you guys tomorrow. It will be early. We'll be, once again, probably around 11, maybe even 10 o'clock. We'll be back for some Danganronpa, and we'll see what exactly transpires now that, what happened last time happened. I will see you guys tomorrow.